Sebastian Elian Azrael Fontaine was once a profligate, a drunkard, a chaos-chasing soul. Yet before life hardened him, he had been a young cadet whose eyes burned with passion. He dreamed of crossing oceans, seeing new places, and bringing home stories that would make his family smile. After graduating, he eagerly sent out applications everywhere he could. Desperation eventually pushed him to sign a 3-year contract with an unfamiliar agency. When they accepted him, joy flooded his heart, and his family celebrated with him. On his first day boarding the ship, Sebastian whispered to himself, "This is it." He was assigned to the deck department. Though he tried to be friendly, some co-workers showed little interest, and others viewed him with resentment. Still, he worked with determination, earning praise from the captain. But that recognition sparked jealousy, and soon the bullying began. Missing belongings, hidden shoes, and even bruises after shifts. Sebastian endured it quietly, believing things would get better. Then came the storm, a massive one. Their ship suffered a machine failure and began to sink in the middle of the ocean. In the panic, most of the crew rushed into the lifeboats, leaving Sebastian and a few crew behind. Waves towered over them like dark giants. Sebastian clung to a floating plank, fighting exhaustion until rescuers finally found them. At the hospital, trauma clung to him like a shadow. The agency refused responsibility, leaving him jobless, ashamed, and burdened with medical bills. Unable to face his family, he drowned himself in alcohol and anger, hurting strangers the way he had been hurt. Whenever rain fell, he locked himself inside, terrified of the sound of water. Months passed like this, dark, heavy, endless. One afternoon, while Sebastian was leaving a small clinic after a therapy session, he heard someone call his name. He turned and froze. It was his former captain, now working with the Maritime Safety Office in that same town. The captain almost didn't recognize him at first. "Sebastian?" the captain asked, eyes widening with concern. Sebastian's shame surged, and he tried to walk away. But the captain gently stopped him. "What happened to you, son?" Something inside Sebastian cracked open. Maybe it was relief, maybe exhaustion, maybe the simple feeling of finally being seen. With trembling words, he told his captain everything from the bullying, to the sinking, to the agency's abandonment, to his slow collapse into self-destruction. The captain listened in complete silence. When Sebastian finished, his captain placed a hand on his shoulder and said quietly, "I know what storms can do to a man. I almost drowned when I was young. I lost confidence, and people took advantage of that fear. But I learned something. Storms don't end your journey. They teach you where your real strength begins. You just have to keep sailing past the storm line. And you won't face it alone. I'll help you." For the first time in so long, Sebastian felt a spark. Small, fragile, but real. With the captain's support, he took care of himself again. He stopped hurting others. He continued therapy, slowly untangling the trauma he carried. He visited the beach again, at first only watching the waves from afar, then learning to swim again without fear. Eventually, he found the courage to return home. His family, worried sick, pulled him into a tight embrace. After 3 months of rest and healing, Sebastian decided to face the sea once more. He called his captain and said, "I'm ready." Boarding a ship again filled him with trembling doubt, but he pushed through. He learned to stand up for himself, stayed optimistic despite difficult co-workers, and found genuine friendships along the way. Years passed, and his hard work spoke louder than his wounds. He applied for officer candidacy and succeeded. 5 years later, he became a respected captain, steady, wise, and resilient. No matter how fierce the waves were, he stood at the helm, knowing he had survived far worse.